Welcome to Microsoft Ignite.
Welcome. Hooray!
How are you guys? All good?
Fantastic.
We sounded a bit
26,000.
echoey.
26,000 plus people at this event.
26,000.
How does that make you feel? One of many? So the event sold out some time ago, and the amazing thing is we've got a whole bunch of different groups of people. How many IT pros? Fantastic. Should we ask this one? How many IT DMs? Anyone know what an IT DM is?
Sounds like a disease.
Yeah. IT decision makers. How many decision makers?
Well, there you go. They're the ones that are hiring. Okay.
Right, and dare we ask, how many developers? That's a good number.
We're a bit echoey up here, sound guy. Could we maybe watch the echo? Thank you.
Try again.
Yes. Hello. Hello. Okay. Go.
He's lost the thread. It got lost in the echo. It just went over there, and it never came back. Okay, so lots of the things going on this week, and what we're going to try and do is help you discover all the different things that you can do at this particular event. But it's not just about Ignite this week. It's also about Envision. It's a completely different conference. There's around 3,000 senior business people, and they're meeting in the Hilton Hotel. But we just mentioned it in case you see someone walking around with an Envision badge. Anyone from Envision here? Okay, so welcome to you.
Yeah, welcome.
If you have a Ignite badge, you are not going to be able to get into an Envision session. They are two totally separate conferences. But now you know it's 26,000 plus.
Them and us, mate. Them and us. Right? Okay. So, John, how do you feel?
Oh, well, I'm pretty chilled at the moment. I'm happy. How about you, Andy?
I'm feeling really excited, okay? More. Who wrote this stuff, by the way?
Yeah.
More to the point, how do they feel, John?
Well, if this is your first time at one of these big events, it can be quite daunting. I mean, I remember going to my first big Microsoft events and thinking, wow, there's a lot of people. And in those days, it was probably 1,000 people. It was that much smaller. So you may well be feeling a little bit overwhelmed by all sorts of things, just overwhelmed getting through immigration at Orlando Airport. That always overwhelms me. But this guy, what's he done?
Global entry, baby, global entry. 1 minute. 1 minute through immigration.
Yes, but how long did it take you to get your bags?
Oh, that took an hour. And then it took an hour to get here by this shuttle bus thing that they have going. Yeah, never again, by the way.
Anyway, we're here to help get this thing kicked off and hopefully set you in the right direction. I normally talk on deep techie subjects, which is what I love doing, and I'm talking a couple of sessions on that. But I've been doing this now for quite a number of years. And in fact, interestingly enough, I did my first Microsoft event 21 years ago.
Old guy.
And Andy is dyslexic. He did his 12 years ago.
That's it.
But I figured out the other day that I went to my first ever Microsoft event in 1994, which was the first ever UK Tech Ed. And it was the only ever UK Tech Ed.
You can tell they're excited, John, about that.
Yeah, I was really excited about that. Andy, tell us about you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, John. I'm Andy Malone. I'm an MVP for 12 years. I'm a Microsoft trainer for 21 years. I wear two hats. First hat, I'm a cybersecurity specialist. So tomorrow I'm doing a defense against the dark arts at 4 p.m. So we've got a really cool session planned. I'm going to do a live hack, okay, tomorrow. I also specialize in Office 365 and Azure and all those kind of things. So if you're into certification, then on Tuesday, I'm doing a double back-to-back session on getting you guys certified in Office 365. Later on in the week, on Friday, I've got another, what was it again? I can't remember.
I didn't know you were doing all these plugs
Yeah, I'm
right
doing
now.
loads of sessions. I'm doing loads of stuff. Anyway, I'm from Stirling in Scotland. So John
Yeah,
is...
I'm from south of the border, and we have this wall, and
Yeah,
we
we've
can't
got this
work
wall,
out who's
so-
responsible for rebuilding it.
Yeah, so I live north of the wall. I'm a wildling, okay?
Okay, I must say, I was going to tell you something else about Andy, but I think he's plugged himself to death.
Okay.
But he's also an author,
Sure.
a famous book author.
What a coincidence, you should mention that, John. Okay, I've written a book called The Seventh Day. It's out there on Amazon. Very good price today, by the way. And this is the sequel. The sequel will be coming out in about just over a month's time. So watch out for that one. It's called Shadows Rising. Think Highlander meets the Da Vinci Code. Ooh. Okay, so the first one, The Seventh Day. The Seventh Day is the first book. Okay.
Okay, so some of you may have seen a little video we did as a sort of trailer where we were actually we've met up in Oslo. We both happened to be there on a different assignment, and we got the request through from Microsoft, do a trailer for the 101 event. So we actually got together one evening to do this trailer, and it looked pretty smooth by the time we'd finished, didn't it? But things aren't always as they appear.
Hi, I'm Andy Malone.
And I'm John Craddock.
And
Hello, Mr. Malone.
hello, Mr. Craddock.
Actually, no, we got to start. We got to start like that, shouldn't we?
No.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
So, right, okay, rolling.
Waiting for each other to start.
I'll go first, yeah. No. And there's often...
Yeah, and I think probably we should mention your favourite topic, shouldn't we?
a drinks reception.
Yeah.
Right, and of course, the final thing that you got to mention is the swag, right? Because the swag is absolutely awesome. That's really good, actually. Yeah, I don't think we'll mention the swag. I'm not going to mention the swag.
Yeah, good, though.
You will find Andy will mention the swag quite a number of times.
Because the swag, baby, is Andy's favorite thing.
Okay, but of course none of this would be possible. Microsoft Ignite would not be possible without you. So thank you for coming to Microsoft Ignite.
Yeah,
Thank
give
you.
yourself a round of applause. Thank you. First time. Awesome.
So what we'd like you to do is this is the first time you're probably meeting lots of people, and all around you are strangers. So take the time just to turn to them and say hello. Hello and welcome. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
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 Hi.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hello. Good eye. Straight.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that was good.
Hi.
I think they're a friendly bunch, John.
Yeah, I think so.
I
Andy.
think they're
This
friendly.
Is great. So, Malone. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for saying hi.
Okay, so let's get started. And
Go for it.
the first thing I want to say is that today is special, tomorrow is special, and then the rest of the week it runs to a very similar pattern. But tomorrow is really, really special because we have the keynotes tomorrow. There's one sort of great big envisioning keynote to begin with, and then it breaks out into different technology keynotes. Don't worry, if you miss one of them, and you just can't make up your mind which one to go for, you can always watch it later on video. The other thing is, there are some special general sessions tomorrow, and, believe it or not, I have to plug Andy again. He's got a general session tomorrow.
What a coincidence you mentioned that, John.
Strange, isn't
Okay,
it?
and it's next door, 315 at 4 p.m., okay? 4 p.m. Take a note, okay? 4 p.m. Okay, so keynote viewing. So although the space to watch the keynote is an enormous room, I mean, we're talking, of course, 26,000 attendees plus everybody else on site. As you can imagine, it's going to get pretty crowded in there. So there is a possibility that if you don't turn up early, you may not get in. But don't worry about it. So there are spaces all over the campus here where you can go in and you can view it. So if you, for example, were downstairs having lunch not that long ago. You'll notice there's a big kind of viewing area there as well. So you can view, you can see listed here, there's the main stage, there's all the hangout areas, there's the immersion zone, there's WB4, and also there's the Ignite Studios as well, where you can go and you can view all the keynotes. John.
Okay, and don't be put off by seeing people that were walking down there with their sleeping bags earlier.
Yeah.
You don't have to go and queue all night.
Yes, you'll be okay.
It's a very, very busy week. So today, which is day 0, day 1, slightly different, and then day 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? There's all sorts of breakouts going on. There's theatre sessions going on, lots and lots of opportunities for learning. And there's a huge amount of different ways of consuming content, and we'll help you with trying to work out the best way of doing things.
Okay, so you can appreciate that with such a complex schedule, this looks complex, right? Now, in terms of breakout sessions, you've got 75-minute breakout sessions, you've got 60-minute, you've got 45 minutes?
45, yeah.
45 minutes, and of course you've got theatre sessions. So if you like a quick hit, a really quick hit on, I don't mean that in the drug sense, by the way, if you, just while anybody was listening there. So if you want really just tell me about Azure Active Directory or how to deploy Azure AD Connect or something like that in 20 minutes, then we have...
I tell you what, maybe if you want to learn about modern authentication protocols.
They could come to your session,
They
John.
could.
Oh my goodness, yeah, what a thought. So the big long bars there, of course, is you can go to these sessions, but you might also want to get some hands-on experience as well. So we have a whole range of hands-on labs, anything from 20-minute labs right through to kind of 6-hour labs. So really, really deep, intense labs. Okay, John.
And of course, managing this schedule is complex, and really spend the time with the app and also spend the time on the My Ignite portal to work out what you want to go for. Now, the trouble is, there's sort of 1,600 different sessions you can choose from, and it can be a little bit daunting to choose the route. And there are things called learning cards, which we'll come to shortly, which will help you make those choices.
Okay, now just one quick thing, just go back to that slide a second, John. Just one thing about the app, folks, is you can appreciate, don't get hooked up on a particular room, because the demand for sessions can, especially once the main conference starts, it can really grow very, very quickly. My top advice to you is get to sessions early, because these rooms can get filled up very, very quickly. Also, another good bit of advice is keep up to date with the app, because the sessions constantly change. Sometimes they might add new sessions or change the session rooms as well, near the last minute, maybe because of an increase in demand.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So Microsoft is really, it's about you. And it's important thing is that you make this week your week. So think about what technologies do you actually want to learn about. And it could be the existing technologies, emerging technologies. The interesting is, the sort of general assumption used to be that people came to these events to find out about their area of expertise, their technologies. But actually, when you analyze the information afterwards, what you find is people are dipping into all sorts of different technologies. So just really have a think, what do you want to know? The other thing, and I still do this, is do you think about if you need any questions answered. So I always have a list of questions that I gradually accumulate. Things that maybe I shall ask the product group. Well, I could email people. On the other hand, why not bring them along to something like Ignite and find the right people? You'll find people from the product groups, and if you can't find the right person, there'll be someone there who will help you find the right person to get your questions answered. So do spend time doing that. Who do you want to meet? Well, you may know someone from a product group, you've never met them, and you want to put a face to a name. That would be good. Or maybe you don't know who you want to meet, but you know you need to ask questions in a particular product group, and they will tell you who to meet up with. And then, of course, trying things out is important.
Absolutely. You should always definitely try things out. So, next slide, John.
I thought you were going to talk about labs.
Oh, well, okay.
Trying things
yeah,
out.
Fine. Oh, right, then, yeah, I will. Okay, so absolutely. So trying things out, as well as going, as I said, going to the sessions is great, and you can learn a lot from the sessions, and you can watch a lot of sessions, and you can see all the demos, but actually getting some real hands-on experience is, there's nothing beats that. There's no experience like experience. Am I right? So go along, try the labs out, and also this week you can of course take certification as well. So here at Microsoft Ignite, we're happy to offer 50% off certification exams for the whole week. So you can take those exams and really boost your skills.
Okay. I think another thing is there is so much reinvention of the wheel in the IT industry. People fight something, try and get something working, spend hours, maybe there's a lack of documentation. Never from a company like Microsoft, which is, there's always lots of documentation. But maybe there's a bit missing and you figure it out. Okay, lucky for us now, there's lots of people who are generous with their time and will blog about it when they fix something. But spend the time while you're here, talk to your peers, find out what they're doing, have they solved the problem that you've got, and maybe you can walk away with solutions ready to go next week.
Absolutely.
So what we'd like you to do is just share your prime objective with the person that's actually sitting next to you, or close to you, or behind you.
So just tell the person next to you, I'm here for this, and you never know, they could be a future customer. Go for it.
Go for it, try it. It's got to be noisy.
Hey, this is great, isn't it? Okay, fantastic, fantastic. So hopefully, you can't shut them up now, John, look.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, we're trying to do a conference here.
So Andy would never make a good school teacher. That didn't work either.
Okay, order. Oh. Okay, so thank you very much for introducing yourselves and talking about each other. One thing I was going to say, now John was talking about going down to the booths and meeting the product group. One important thing I would like to say is remember the people at the booths are not marketing people. These guys are the product teams. So this is a fantastic opportunity for you to get in there and ask real questions to the people that matter. Okay, John?
Okay. There's a week of amazing opportunities. So if you're brand new to Ignite, you may not have known about the pre-days. Have a look this year and see what pre-days that have taken place. And maybe next year, when you return to Ignite, you could actually arrange to arrive on the Sunday to do a pre-day. There's the technology keynotes, which I think are really good to see Microsoft's vision for the future. But it's not just about Microsoft's vision, it's about the IT industry's vision for the future as well. Breakouts are happening all week. Be careful though, some breakouts are 75 minutes, some are 45 minutes. You've got to make sure you schedule yourself correctly for those. Certification.
You've been drinking some of it.
Yeah, I have, yeah, nice water. Certification, exam prep, which is Andy is helping with. And then we've got general sessions, the hands-on lab, as Andy's already mentioned. Theatre sessions are run by MVPs. And as Andy said, it's a way of getting a fast hit of technology.
That's very good, yes, I like that.
And then there's the customer immersion experience, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Yeah. Okay, so the immersion zone for this time is very exciting. So in the past, we've had hands-on labs, of course, and if any of you remember the old days of Microsoft Tech Ed, you'll remember the hands-on lab. But this time, and this is taking place at the Hyatt Regency in the conference center there. So everything to do with the immersion zone is going to be taking place there. So you're going to have the full hands-on labs experience. I mean, really detailed labs to take you through the technology. Also, a lot of the labs you can either do for the self-paced labs, or you can also do the instructor-led hands-on labs as well. So it's like almost taking like a mini course, if you will. In terms of the different content, so if you don't want to go along to a session, but you'd like to watch it, for example, then the immersion zone has enormous screens that you actually stream many of the major sessions live. So you'll be able to sit there and you can stick your headphones on and watch a particular session. The other thing that we also have is we have the mixed reality experience. That we were just talking about that. That looks really exciting. There is an Office 365 admin mixed reality experience. I'm dying to try see what that's like.
Just imagine grabbing hold of your Active Directory and throwing it into the cloud, and Azure AD Connect configures itself. I'm imagining.
Oh no. Okay. Okay, so do remember that these are staffed by industry experts, Microsoft trainers, Microsoft MVPs. I got to say, by the way, remember, none of these people are paid. We're all here because we are all passionate about technology. We're passionate about, because we're all IT pros here or devs, we're all passionate about this stuff. So again, really go along, speak to people, and then really immerse yourself in the immersion zone. It's a very cool experience.
And then, of course, we mentioned it, the theatre sessions, those are there. But to go with the theatre sessions, there'll also be discussion panels, and there'll be some MVPs and maybe some product group members getting together to discuss things. Maybe you can join in, but it's well worth actually having a look to see what discussion panels are being scheduled. There are various meetup zones, again, very useful for meeting colleagues, finding out what they're doing. And actually what I find and fascinating, working in I work very much in identity, and the identity experience in different countries varies dramatically in terms of the rules and regulations and so on they need to comply with. Very useful just to be able to talk to people that come from different locations. And then all week there are podcasts going on. And then, of course, we've got the Celebrating Women in Business and Technology events that Microsoft are putting on this year. And there's a welcome reception, which is actually in the Hilton, isn't it? Hilton Hotel by the pool.
Is it the Hilton or the Hyatt?
I think it's the Hilton.
Is it?
I'm certain it's the Hilton.
Yeah.
Does it not say?
Yes,
Probably
it does.
not.
It does.
Anyway,
you're right.
I'm almost 100% certain it's Hilton, but check your schedule. And there's various sort of inspirational speakers who are talking at different events during the week. So check that out as well.
That's a free event, by the way, for all the ladies. Get involved. We're really excited to have you here, and Microsoft is really celebrating that this week. So go for it.
And then, of course, there's the Expo. Andy.
Oh, absolutely. The Expo, fantastic. Expo equals swag, doesn't it? So, so seriously though, the Expo, Microsoft is deeply grateful for all its business partners and its exhibitors, and this year we have got an incredible Expo for you. The Expo Hall itself, by the way, you'll see the maps in a moment. It is enormous, and rumor has it that from one end to the other, it's a mile long. So make sure that you've got good shoes for this. But again, we have lots and lots of partners. You can go and find out about what they're doing to integrate their technologies, their products with Microsoft. Go along, ask questions, and I was right, though. There's lots of really great swag there as well. Please note the Expo hours, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The Expo is not on Friday, so make sure that you get there, you know, to get your questions asked, because there's nothing on Friday there. All right, John?
Okay, and you can always tell when Andy's gone into the Expo hall, because he's like this.
Yeah, looking
and what
for
he's
the swag.
doing, he's staring to see what swag people are carrying. And then he'll go up to them. If he comes up to you and say, "Where did you get that?" Please tell me.
You know what it is, okay? You're just as bad, though.
Top priority.
Enjoyment.
Enjoyment, absolutely.
Totally.
And of course, guess what? Andy's going to talk about the next slide, because it's about what?
Swag. Swag, baby. It's about you. Okay, who's got their swags? Who's got their Ignite swag? Yes? Pretty cool, huh? So we've got a great t-shirt for you. We've got a bag, choice of colors. And also we've got the drinks cups this year, again, with a choice of colors. We've also got the cable tidy thing. Yes?
The cable tidy thing, yeah.
We've not got ours
so
yet.
honest, who's stressed out trying to choose the color of their bottle? Yeah, just a few hands.
I got to tell you, I can't tell you how many people say this to me. They say, you know, I've got the orange one, but I wish I would have got the blue one. So many people say, or I would have got the green one or something, you know? They change their mind.
And of course, swag for the body, food and beverages. Right, so it says there breakfast, it says lunch, and then it says the break stations. Now, the one important thing on that slide is break stations, 3 p.m. each day, Monday through to Thursday. They're going to be putting goodies out to eat at that time. But remember, it's not just you here. There's 26,000, that's the word I was looking for. 26,000 people competing for those goodies. So make sure you're prompt getting that. Now, one thing you may run there is, when is breakfast? When is lunch? And the best way of finding out is, whenever you're asking yourself, when is something, go and have a look at the overall event page. And let me just break out of that and come across to here. And if we look at the overall event page, which should be that one, if you go to Agenda, and under Agenda, what you'll find is it's got all the timings, okay? Yeah. So notice, for instance, on Friday, there is no expo. So really important, don't leave your swag collection to Friday. When's the best time?
Oh, when's the best time? What, for swag?
Swag collection.
I would say probably Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
And on Friday, again, the lunchtime is different. So check out breakfast time, lunchtime, location, etc. So that's where you want to be, is on that particular agenda page. And so choose that.
Yeah, I was going to say, do remember as well that in terms of meals, each of the main buildings has a food hall, so a meal hall. So you don't need to go like half an hour to the next building. So we will feed you. Okay. And also John mentioned the break tables. You'll find that in the afternoons when they start putting out the goodies, that goes very quick. It's, you know, it can disappear pretty fast. So, you know, get there first. Okay.
How was that?
You see, like that, you know, like a I see people just going like this into their bags. You know, don't do that. Think about other people, huh?
Okay, so you're going to tell us about the welcome reception of things.
I am. Okay, so the welcome reception, we have lots of things going on, and social hours, of course. So the welcome reception is on Monday between 5 and 7:30, 5:30 and 7:30. Again, this is in Hall A, so the Expo Hall. So again, this is your opportunity to meet the various vendors and also sample lots of nice nibbles and food and lots of, there's alcohol, right?
Yeah, I believe there is.
I'm from Scotland, I need alcohol, so okay. It makes the whole event go a lot smoother. And again, as you can see, also on each day, so on Sunday tonight, as John mentioned, it's the Women in Technology. Tuesday, Wednesday, and again, you can come along for that. The other thing is the wristbands, John. You might want to tell them about that.
Yes, this is something else. You know, Andy goes in and he's checking out the swag. He's also looking for colored wristbands, because a colored wristband probably indicates you've got an invite to a party, right? So again, find out where those wristbands are coming from and go and get yourself an invite to a party.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The other thing is, I would say about the expo is great. There's a huge number of partners and different organizations who are supporting Ignite. But what you can find is people that have solved problems. So you've got a problem area that you're working with in your organization. Go and have a look at the vendors that are offering products. It might, you know, you might say, oh, we can do that. And you go away and you implement what they've implemented or something similar. Or you might say, actually, do you know, this would be really beneficial to go down there. So what you can get is not just shots, which you were hoping for, but you can get technology shots from the expo area.
Oh, nice link.
Yeah.
I like that. That was a good link. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
straight on to this one,
Straight
which
on to
is your
this one.
baby.
This is my favorite one. Okay, so who's ever been to Microsoft Tech Ed in Orlando before? Anyone? Okay, a couple of people. Okay, so in the past, Tech Ed was either at Islands of Adventure or it was at Universal. Not this year. This year, for the very first time, folks, it's both theme parks free for all of you. Okay? Woohoo! All right? Okay, so, yeah, and all you need to get in is your badge. So you just need your badge, and there's some other advice, John, as well.
Yeah, so take your badge. It's not, in the past, it's been wristbands, not this time. It's the badge. The other thing is travel very light. What you'll find, it's probably going to be a warm evening. It may rain, but anyway, you'll probably get soaking wet in one of the rides or another, so does it matter? But some rides, some rides you actually have to deposit what you're carrying so that you don't deposit it out of yourself when you're
See, John's like this about the rides, you see.
So there are people with nets catching things, but no, you have to actually put, so really advice is take the absolute minimum with you.
Yeah.
And you're only a captive audience for 1 hour because there are shuttles that go from 7 to 8:30 from the hotels to Universal, and then you have to be there for an hour, and then you can get back. But if you don't want to stay, you could always Uber it.
Uber it, yeah.
Uber it.
It's not that far away, is it?
No.
No, no.
Anything else you want to say for that one?
Yeah, I would get, in terms of advice, don't take huge rucksacks with you for security reasons. And you don't want to be running around Universal with bags with laptops and stuff. So keep it light, guys, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, the other thing, of course, for this conference, everyone has to be a nice person. So there are event code of conduct. Microsoft will enforce it very strictly if people are horrible and mean and despicable.
Yeah, if you're horrible, we'll take care of you, okay?
But basically, it's just respecting everybody else that's at the event.
Indeed. Yes.
Okay, structuring your learning opportunity.
Okay, absolutely. One of the most important aspects. This is why we're all here. So, of course, content consumption, as I've mentioned, there's lots of different ways to consume content. So you can go to the in-person sessions, you can go to breakout sessions, which we've already mentioned, 45 or 75 minutes long. You've got hands-on labs, you can go to the immersion zone, you've got the various studios that you can go and sit and you can watch the live broadcast, the Microsoft Studios. We'll talk about that in a moment. Again, you can see some of the details are here, things like the technology keynote. So if you don't manage to get into the room, then don't worry, you won't miss anything. There's lots of places to actually view things and enjoy it. John.
Okay, thanks. So what I'd like to do is, I mentioned earlier this sort of great big daunting number of sessions you can go to, not just breakouts, but different length breakouts, theatre sessions, and so on. And one of the ways of actually helping you with this is this thing called learning paths. So I'll just escape out of that and go back to, and I'm going to go here to My Ignite, okay, where you can view your schedule. But in terms of Discover Sessions, you go down to Learning Paths down here, and then you can decide, what's your role. So maybe you're an Office 365 application administrator. Maybe not. Maybe that doesn't fit you. You're a unified communications person. And then having chosen your role, you can actually look at a suggested learning path. And having chosen an existing learning path, what it will do is it will show you different sessions that you can go on. So in terms of Saturday, there's not a lot going on, so maybe we should go across to the society. That is on Monday, so this is good.
Monday is good.
It's good. It's a day. It's a day behind, but we can't get everything. We can't get everything right. So basically, it's making some suggestions.
They love it when demos go wrong, that, right? You can see the big smiles. I love it.
And what I would suggest you do is you find the role that best fits you, and as you're going through the list of roles, look at roles that are sort of subordinate to you or sort of adjacent to your role, and then you can look at those as well. And from that, it will give you a really good way of picking sessions. But one thing I really would say is don't stress out about going to all the sessions. Remember, a lot of them are going to be recorded, so you could always see them later.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty much the learning zone. So let's go back to the slide deck. Well, not the learning zone, but the learning paths.
Learning paths.
So that covers that one as well. And this one, Andy, you should do this.
Oh, yes. Okay. I cannot stress to you evaluations. Our evaluations are the most important thing. I got to tell you, as external speakers, as Microsoft speakers, we really value your feedback. Okay, so we want to know if you enjoyed our sessions, if you hated our sessions, please put in comments. Just one little tip though, if you can't get into the if you can't go into the room or get into the room, don't give the session all ones. It's not my fault you can't get into the room. Main reason, by the way, is good feedback equals we'll be back in future. Bad feedback, I'll never be able to feed my family again. Okay, so don't feel any guilt.
So you want to be like the Terminator?
I do.
I'll be back.
So you can see basic questions here. Overall, how satisfied were you with the session? From very satisfied to very dissatisfied. How valuable did you find the content? Would you like Microsoft Account Manager to contact you? Probably not. Sorry, yes, they do. They do. This is being recorded, so of course they do. Please provide any additional comments. So your comments are really useful, okay? So please ensure that you feedback, even from this session today, right, John?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would stress that what's really, really useful when you're trying to look back on a session and see whether you delivered it the right way, etc., is the comments. Yeah. So please, if you've got just a few moments to put even just a very short comment is very, very useful. And as Andy said, the MVPs, the external speakers are all coming along here, and the only way they get asked back for the next year is if the scores are good.
Remember, they're free.
I mean, if they're terrible, then it's your chance to say so.
Yeah.
But if you don't fill an evaluation in, it really affects the external speakers. And of course, it affects the event as well for the future. Yeah,
the one thing I would say, by the way, is if you come along to any of my events and you hate them, my name's John Craddock, okay?
Thank you, Andy.
Okay.
I shall treat that. I'll push you back across the wall. Okay, finding the right person. Very important.
Absolutely. So, badge identification. So you guys have got the most important color. You are the attendees. You are blue. You are the blue badges. Okay, so you are really, really important to us. So who are the other colors? So the black are the crew. So these are the guys, the technical crew and the guys that are running around doing the conference. The attendee is blue. The speakers are green. There's two green badges, one that's got the word speaker on it, the other one that's got the word expert on it. So the expert are the booth babes, and these are all the MVPs who are really tirelessly dedicated to answering your questions. They put an awful lot of work in here. Media is always red.
It'd be nice if it said expert speakers, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Yeah, why don't they say expert speakers?
Maybe they're not.
Yeah. Red equals press. I don't know why it's red. Does that mean danger or something? Don't speak to them. If you've got a day pass, then you'll be the white badge there. And again, if you're an Expo sponsor, there are two colors here. There's the Expo sponsor attendee badge, which is blue, and there is the Expo sponsor with Microsoft external booth staff. Each have got E on them for exhibitor.
Indeed.
Okay. Oh, you like this one, John?
Well, I could do this one, I guess.
Go on then.
The purple shirts, they are absolutely amazing people to ask questions of. They are so helpful, and they're really dedicated to making the success for everyone of the event. And then you've got people in sort of grey-coloured shirts. The darker grey are Microsoft speakers. I happen to have a Microsoft shirt on at the moment, but I should be wearing the shirt in the lighter grey.
You should.
But I don't have one at the moment. coming soon. And then, of course, there's the Showcase Expo staff. And Andy really wants
I want one of those hoodies. They're cool hoodies. And you know what? Andy will get one.
Okay.
This is your bit.
Time for another little demo. It's the community. How many of you belong to the Microsoft Tech community?
How many?
Well, that's good.
That's good.
But actually, it's very useful for absolutely everyone. And if I just pop over back to my demo environment here, and so what you've got is you can see there's sort of various hype already going on about Ignite itself, but equally we can go over here and look at communities. So you can come over and you can choose communities to join. So I'm a member of Azure Active Directory. And then when we want to search the community, you don't have to search for a particular person. So for instance, I know what we could do. So let's search for something fairly obscure. So we'll do OpenID Connect. Oops, I would do if I... So
I wonder what this will come up with.
So as we all know, OpenID Connect is a modern authentication protocol. And there it goes. Oh, look, what's it found? Oh, goodness me, a quick guide to modern authentication protocol.
What a coincidence.
Yes. That's my theatre session lecture. So lots of good play. It's a great place to ask questions and to find out about what people are thinking about sessions, etc., for Ignite itself. Okay, so let's go back.
Alrighty.
Andy.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Community Central. In fact, I think you've probably already, if you've been for lunch today, you've probably already been in that big, enormous room. It's the dining room, but this is also the community area where you'll find the MVP booths here. You'll find Microsoft Learning, and you'll also see here there's a kind of studio area. So Monday, for example, and it's each team will host a specific day. So you'll see on Monday, we have Data Day. Tuesday, we have the Azure Community Day. Wednesday, Microsoft Office Takeover. Thursday, we have the Windows Takeover Day. So there's lots going on there. So there's the tech community. And if you're not a member of the tech community, you can sign up. And I don't know about this year, but last year they had a really cool gift. So take a bit of advice, go and sign up there because they have a cool gift. Also the MVP program, just one other little note I would like to mention. I'm doing a theatre session on Tuesday afternoon, 1:05. So you want to be an MVP. What is an MVP, a most valuable professional? And more important, how could you become one? All right? So we're going to do a little chat about that on Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, I think you might as well, if you're talking about hanging out, why not carry on?
Okay, I will. All right, so again, as I've mentioned, there's lots of hangout places that you can just chill and kind of consume various sessions here. So again, these are lots and lots of alternate spaces where you could watch breakout sessions. So if you don't get to a breakout session, they have these big, huge, enormous screens. And there's going to be lots of different sessions going on, and you can tune in to a specific session that you can listen to. You can also connect through various meeting places. So again, if you want to host a meeting or you want to set up a meeting, there are meeting spaces available for you. There is also the Microsoft Ignite Studio that broadcasts live onto Channel 9. That is there, and you can go along and you can listen to those conversations. And also we have the Microsoft Tech community that we just mentioned. John.
Okay, it's just a really good place to just sit and talk to people.
Yeah.
Okay, the expo map. Okay, as Andy said, this expo is enormous. And I'll show you very shortly how you might find someone in the expo space. There's also the dark blue area is the Microsoft Showcase. This is where you're going to find, as what did you call them?
Booth babes.
Booth babes.
Don't call them that though. Okay.
So
experts.
Go and find one of
okay?
the senior product managers and call him a booth babe.
Yes.
Yes, and hope you'll get your question answered.
You may not get the prize that you expected though.
But the showcase area also, you'll notice there are some lighter blue square. Those are where or some of the theatres are. And actually, I'm just going to skip one slide for a second just to go to this slightly bigger picture. So the theatres are dotted around the Microsoft Showcase, but also dotted around the rest of the expo hall. And then there are some theatres that are actually in different halls. So there's theatre number 2, for instance, which is one level down from here. So if you come out of here, look over the edge, and you'll see a theatre slot. There's lots of standing room there.
That's where his session is, by the way. That's why he keeps plugging it.
So I think we've probably said as much as there is to say about theatre slots. But
Yes.
if you want a quick shot of technology, great. And the other thing is the media wall, and this is where people are going to be putting information and content, and maybe from MVPs, maybe from other community members and partner organizations as well.
And do remember to keep up to date on the Twitter feed and all the social networks.
Okay,
Yes?
are you going to explain why this is garage rather than mechanics?
Yeah, no, it used to be garage.
I know.
Okay, it used to be garage, but he's obviously moved on a bit at Microsoft. Jeremy Chapman, a very good friend of mine, he used to run something called Garage, which kind of focused heavily on Office 365. Now this has mushroomed into lots of different areas. So we have the Microsoft Mechanics Live Studio here. This is a huge space. So we're talking about almost 400 seating and 800 standing overflow. So if you want to go and see from the really top guys, so the CTO, for example, of Microsoft Azure, Mark Rasinovich, very nice guy. Go along and hear an interview with him. You've also got things like Jeffrey Snover, the inventor of PowerShell. He's a genius if you get a chance to speak with Jeffrey. Okay, so each day, as you can see, there is something going on at the Microsoft Mechanics Studio. John.
Okay, finding a way around. The conference is enormous in terms of actual physical space that it's taking up. So we have the West Building, we have the North-South Building, and then sat in the middle, we have the Hyatt. Now, also over on the right-hand side, you can see the Hilton there, and that's where Envision is being held. So if we're here for Ignite, what we're interested in is the 3 main buildings. In the lower one there, the West Building, which we happen to be in at the moment, it's the Hangout Zone, there's the Microsoft Studio, and so on. In the Hyatt is the Immersion Zone, where I believe you're doing your certification
I'm
talks
doing,
as well, aren't
2
you?
of those on Tuesday morning.
And that's where all the hands-on labs are.
Everything's there.
And there's way more than just the hands-on labs. So do take a look at that. And then we've got, in the North-South Building, we've got the expo that's taking place.
And the keynote, that's where the keynote is as well.
And it's, as I say, it takes a long time to move around. You can reckon if you're going between buildings, you've got to allow 15 minutes.
That's just between the buildings, So, but one thing we'll say is that you typically find, if your kind of focus is Azure or your focus is 365, you will typically find that the guys who have scheduled the sessions have done a pretty good job actually keeping the sessions in one kind of area. So that's good, because the last thing you don't want to be running that mile between the buildings. And so again, careful scheduling on your part also helps out there too.
And I would say, if you're just thinking, I need to go and catch that session in the other building, think seriously about it. Maybe that session should be caught up on video at a later time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe miss that session, go and see a theatre session or something in the building that you're actually in. The other thing is there's sneaker transport, and going between north and south between session rooms, you could be looking at 25 minutes.
Easy.
There's a MVP who's part of Power BI and very dedicated. He's produced a couple of things that I just want to show you.
Do you want to just take a quick snapshot of this? This is not actually part of the official Microsoft Ignite program. This is something that an MVP has done in his own time. So he's put an awful lot of effort into this, and this is 2 great Power BI bits and pieces that you can use.
I would say this session is actually available already as a download, so you can you can download and get all the links.
Yeah.
There's a number of links in here. But let's just come out of here and go across to here, and we'll start off. Okay, so this is the Expo Horse booth finder. So what you could do is say, well, where's the Microsoft area? Okay, and immediately it highlights it for you. And you could say, for instance, you know, we can look for the Expo area, the lounge, or you've looked up a partner and you know that they're in booth 499 or something. So you click on there, and then it highlights where the 100 to 600 booths are. And then you choose the person. Let's say we want to go and find Box. We choose Box, and there it is. It takes us over, and we've got a little blue highlighter around Box. So this could actually be very useful. I have spent hours and hours walking around expo halls trying to find a particular booth. And you walk past it about 6 times, and it's the one just round the back. And just as you're getting near it, you see some bit of swag over there, and you get distracted.
See, it's not just me thinking about swag.
And then if we look at the other thing, what you've got, this does not work out how you get between 2 buildings. This is purely for internal purposes. So what we do is we click onto the building we're interested in. So this is the South Concourse, and here is the West building that we happen to be in. And what we can do is we can scroll up here, and we're in, currently happen to be in 314. And Andy was really concerned about how you got to 315.
Or my other room on Friday, 311.
Oh, look, Andy, it's direct, and it's going to take you 53 seconds.
That's good. That's good. So remember that tomorrow, okay?
The other thing, if we take a, let's say we want to go to the registration entrance, and this is where it gets, you know, you can say, well, I could do this in 514 seconds, or maybe I need some exercise, I'll do it in 895 seconds. So what you do is you choose a route. So let's say we chose this one. But what's really useful is, so this is from W13, and we're going to go via WEB, and WEB is a is actually an escalator. And there's our room. You can find the destination. So reception entrance. So it takes you to where the reception entrance is. So we now know the start and the end, and then you can choose a particular escalator, for instance, and it will take you and show you the escalator. So if you're planning a route, it can be quite useful.
It's almost like a Jason Bourne movie, isn't it? Okay. He's done a good effort, though. That was a great effort.
Oh, yes. Actually, one thing I will say, what he would love is to get, let's do it on this one. Down here is, there's a way of feeding back. So he would love your feedback on the tool. And he has spent, well,
hours,
a long time
on that. So
he deserves every bit of feedback he can get.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so wireless access.
Yeah, okay. So if you're not already on the Wi-Fi, then again, easy this time. MSFT Wi-Fi, and the password is Microsoft with a capital M. You don't need to hack it. There you go.
Okay, so quite easy. Printing and shipping. If you want any printing, you want any shipping done, there's a FedEx office which you will find, and there's the opening hours. Remember, you have got this slide deck, so you can always check it back for times and things, and also for links. So all these links are live in the actual slide deck when you bring it down.
Just one comment, just before you click next. Just in case, last year they were giving away a Ducati. So you never know, if you need that Ducati shipped, you might find it useful. Okay.
Yeah, but you drive it for free.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you think they could take it on as hand luggage?
Microsoft absolutely pride themselves in getting accessibility correct. So there's for vision, for hearing, for mobility. I'm not going to go through details of this slide, just to say that Microsoft make every single effort. If you've got a problem, just let them know, and they'll sort it for you. The other thing, there is a mother's room, there is a meditation room or a prayer room, depending on, but if you want a quiet space where you just need to think about all the technology that you're consuming, you could go and meditate.
Indeed. Security.
Safety,
Yeah.
security.
Yeah, okay. Security, my favorite topic. Of course, we live in potentially interesting times, so always keep security in mind, folks. So if you see any kind of suspicious behavior or unattended bags and things like that, always let somebody know. There's lots of security everywhere, or one of the purple shirts, purple and white shirts, they'll help you, okay? One quick thing about first aid as well. If the unlikely thing happens, you're not well, or you feel sick or something, then there's a very good first aid facility on site.
In both buildings.
In both buildings.
In both buildings.
Yeah.
Okay, Microsoft Store, I'm going to let you carry on with this because
Okay.
this is dear to your heart, isn't it?
Yes.
It's bargain time.
Yeah, you can save money. Yes, I like saving money. I'm from Scotland. So, as you can see here, the Microsoft Store is on site. Again, depending on the items you want to purchase, you can save anything from 10% to $100, for example, on various things. So you can also you can get those on site here, but also at the various Microsoft stores in Orlando here. So there's one at the Mall of Millennia and also the Florida Mall. So take advantage and save some cash.
Okay. And I don't think there's anything to say to this slide except there are lots of goodies.
Yeah, lots of goodies. Okay.
Okay.
So,
transportation. Yeah, so just transportation. I'm just going to say there's a attendee transportation schedule. So this is where the shuttles come into play. You'll find in your hotel, it will give you a route number, it will give you details of timings, etc. There's actually a lot of slides in here. It gives you all the details from different hotels, etc. And we're not going to go through them. All we will say is there are other ways if you don't want to come in a shuttle. So you're a taxi, you got the Link bus, and you put in terms of Uber, yeah.
Uber.
Park and ride sharing as well. So
Top tips, John.
Top tips.
Top tips.
We're going to start with my top tips.
Top tips.
So first thing is, I would say, is create a list. Just spend 10 minutes, half an hour, however long it takes you. Just think about what you want to achieve this week, all right? And it could be that just say, well, look, I've come to this week, I want to learn about this and that. In fact, what I really like to achieve is to solve this problem. Well, go out, find the help, find the right people to help you solve that problem. Do use the Microsoft Ignite app. I've already said it, but don't be over ambitious. So do not over cram your week. It's really important you have time to sort of chill, relax, talk to other people. The other thing I will say is if you'll go to a breakout, some breakouts, it may be a technology you don't really understand at the moment, and some of the stuff goes whoosh over the top of your head. Let it go whoosh and disappear over the top of your head. Don't spend hours thinking, I didn't understand that, right? Just let it go by. You will still take in a huge amount, and you've got the video that you can watch later on to check it out. Booths, I think, are excellent. So the Microsoft booth, see the solutions offered by other companies, the expo area. And, I've got there, please make sure you evaluate sessions. And, of course, come to my sessions.
Which is?
Yeah, I'm just doing a couple this year. And if you're interested in everything that Azure AD Connect will do for you in terms of single sign-on to Azure AD, then that's the session for you. It's going to be deep. It's all about the new technologies as well. And then, modern authentication protocols. How I'm going to do that in 20 minutes, I haven't quite figured out yet, but I'm trying it. I have a masterclass, which is on identity, which is just come to the US and UK. It's also available at other locations. I have a TechNet blog, which number 8 is about to go live. It will go live on Thursday because I'm covering some of the stuff I'm doing in my session on Thursday in the blog. And that brings me on to Andy's top 10 tips.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Okay, as John said, don't attempt to attend every single breakout. You'll never make it. 1,600 plus, it's insane. Also, avoid being late at sessions. You may find that you don't get in, so make sure you give yourself plenty of time. Also, feedback is so important. Can't stress that enough. If you've got problems, go and see the professional IT gentlemen and ladies in the booths. Definitely get certified, get that 50% discount. Try the hands-on labs, grab the free swag. Sorry, I'm focusing on that. Be social, make friends, attend the celebration at Universal. Awesome. And don't forget to attend my sessions.
Actually,
John.
can I add one more?
Go on,
I
then.
think something to be tried
Go on.
is managing Office 365 with virtual reality.
Yeah, I want to try that. That'll be
Me
kind
too.
of, yeah. Okay, cool. So my sessions tomorrow afternoon is my first session, 4 p.m. in just next door here. This is Defense Against the Dark Cloud Arts, Azure Security Deep Dive. Then going underground, discovering, exploiting, and defending against covert channels in modern computing. Not many people can write session titles like that, eh? That's on Friday, and you'll be. It's very much cybersecurity, and you'll be amazed at where you can hide stuff in your computing systems. I've got those two cert exam breakouts on Tuesday morning, starting at 9 a.m. That's the 7346 Office 365, followed by the 347. And I've also got my So You Want to Be an MVP theatre session. That's on Thursday at 1:05. Yes.
And guess what? That brings us to an evaluation slide. There's meant to be a QR code there, but
Yeah, it's not working.
it's not working.
Okay.
So what we would ask you to do is please make sure that you evaluate it through the Mike Knight portal or through the app.
Yeah.
Although we have had reports, there's a little bit of inconsistency. Some apps are not allowing you to do the eval. So please, if that doesn't work for you, do use the Mike Knight portal.
Yeah.
And all to say is have the most fantastic week at Ignite.
Definitely.
And really, really enjoy yourselves.
And I'm Andy Malone.
And I'm John Craddock.
Thank you very much. Okay.
All right. By all means, come down and ask. We're very happy to answer any questions.